Well, welcome everyone. My name is Kenny Hendricks. I'm Hawksoft's Director of Partner Integrations. I am super excited to introduce Insurance Agent App with Matt Aaron and Kiki Johnson, um, two folks that I have known probably the longest in my role in business development and partner integrations at Hawksoft. I've been able to learn a lot through interactions with them and through how they present their tool to an audience. They're joined with George from Metrowest in California, who's been a friend of Hawksoft since the early 2000s and a customer for just about as long. Super excited to hear his presentation alongside Matt and Kiki. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Matt.
Matt Aaron here, co-founder of Insurance Agent App, and I want to thank all of you for joining us today. It's been a great journey with Hawksoft, and with me is my co-founder, Kiki Johnson, and a very special guest, George Toney from Metrowest Insurance out of Los Angeles, California. We've got a great presentation for you today, very tight presentation. We kick this off just a little bit about Insurance Agent App and who we are. We've been partners with Hawksoft now for several years. We've been in the independent insurance agent space now for just about 10 years. And we've worked with well over 1,000 agencies. And as Kenny mentioned, we are Hawksoft's first API partner. But I will tell you that as we do webinars like this regularly, our whole approach has been to educate first and sell second. We found that that's really helpful for agencies that may be new to mobile. So this webinar isn't a sales pitch per se. It really is meant to help set the table for what's happening in the independent channel, because clearly the world has changed in the last couple of years. And there's no question that digital transformation is a really important component of any business worldwide right now, so that you can engage and connect with your prospects and clients. The good news is within the independent channel, agents really have done a good job of reaching prospects through all of those little bubbles that you see encircled on your screen right there. But when it comes to communicating with clients, the good news is that agencies have begun to deploy CRMs for emailing. There's some really good Hawksoft partners that do that, and I'm sure that a lot of people on this webinar are familiar with them. And a lot of you, because we work with you, we know you are texting out of your management system, or maybe you use some other third-party provider. And that's great, because when we first got started doing this years ago, a lot of agencies didn't have CRMs and they weren't texting, and now they are. But we're here to talk about a mobile app because there are limitations to both the email and texting platforms. The first is, let's just be very candid about email. We all get a lot of emails, a ton of email. And the last I checked, there's nobody I know who's asking for another marketing email. But there are deliverability issues with email. And the first is, it came with tabbed inboxes. Google and Outlook now sort your mail for you. And in a lot of cases, they think that's a help, and in some cases it is, but in some cases it's not. I've communicated with agency principals before through a chain of emails, and all of a sudden my inbox, my emails to there is not going to their inbox, it's going into their spam or promotional inbox. So deliverability is an issue there. When it comes to reaching the younger generation, a lot of them have moved away from email completely. I have two late teenage sons. They really don't email. They are using messaging apps. We have one agency in New York that does 40% of their communication via WhatsApp. So we've embedded the WhatsApp app into our app for that agency so that they can communicate and text back and forth with their clients. And the last component that causes deliverability issues is we hate spam. We're almost a click on emails these days purely because you can't be sure that there isn't something embedded somewhere in the email. I found this article just the other day that hackers are hiring native English speakers to construct emails for them so that they can do a better job of duping all of us. So all of that lends itself to email can be tough sometimes to get into somebody's inbox. And if you think texting is the answer, I can tell you firsthand because I am getting this now, and I'm very careful about my cell phone number. But pretty soon, robotexts are going to replace robocalls. And as I was putting together this presentation a couple of weeks ago, or not a couple of weeks ago, last week, you can see the date on it, I received 2 spam texts within an hour. And I just thought I'd put them there so you can see them. So it's becoming an issue. And don't get me wrong, I'm not here to say that email and texting are limited. They're not. They are to be used in certain situations where it's really important to connect with your clients, but it's becoming clear that there are limitations with them, which is why exploring a mobile app and deploying a mobile app to your clients is really, really important for your agency's success. It's also why any business these days that is a service provider with consumers asks the question, or says, download our app for a better experience. So ask yourself, why do all these businesses keep imploring their clients to download their app? It's because it's a contained experience. It's free of the environment. We don't have any advertising on our app. We never will. It is something that is really meant to be a cozy environment, if you will, for your business and your clients. And it's happening in the property and casualty insurance vertical. If you don't think that insurance apps are being utilized, they are. As we look at this next chart, you'll see this is a chart of app, what am I looking for? Ratings. And I did this just about a week or two ago. I pulled these down from the Apple's App Store. And you can see on the left with the directs, Geico has nearly 3 million ratings. Those aren't downloads, those are ratings. So it really gives you an idea that people like the app, they like to rate it, and they're going to let Geico know how they feel about the app. And that's the same for the other directs and captives, where you can see USAA is over 1 million, and State Farm and Allstate have hundreds of thousands of app reviews. And then you come over to the independent channel, and you'll notice that the ratings for apps are anemic, actually kind of scary. And there are really two reasons for this. The first is that, and we've talked with many CTOs at some of these companies, they're very free about admitting the fact that they do not own the customer relationship, the agent does. And they have difficulty getting app downloads. And that's because the agent owns the relationship. The other reason why a lot of times these apps aren't even rated highly is because the apps are limited in functionality. They're really not that great. This is kind of an afterthought for some of the independents. But when you see those numbers on the directs and captives, it means they're putting out a first-rate mobile application because they're making the experience for their clients easy, and they're making it easy to do business with. And one of the first places that's really starting to manifest itself with is in the claims experience. This is a study that was released just not too long ago, but it talks about how, through COVID, that, pre-COVID, I should say, the claims experience wasn't really virtual or digital. And then through COVID, it was all digital because no one met face to face. Now it's settled down to about 2/3 of claims are settled virtually, and most of the time through a mobile app. And so it's something to take note of. The clients and consumers will use mobile apps if it helps them be more productive. So as we transition into how we can help your agency and your clients be more productive, the first way is, and the title of this presentation is, 3 ways your agency data can move your agency forward. The first is that the data has to get from your HawkSoft system to one of the API partners. So we make that as simple as can be. It is literally done in 1 click on our dashboard. A button that is labeled Activate is clicked, and it's like magic. The sync happens, and then every 8 hours after that, the data is refreshed so that the data that is in your HawkSoft CMS is always fresh and up to date inside the Insurance Agent mobile app for your clients. And as we move into the first reason of how your agency data can move your agency forward, it really is no more complicated than this. With an integrated mobile application integrated with your HawkSoft system, you will see a reduction in basic service calls for things like policy info, how do I pay my bill, where do I pay my bill, can you send me another vehicle ID card, I've got to change your cert request and claims reporting. All of those features and services are front and center on the mobile app. And we're not here today to do a demo and do a deep dive on each one of these features. We can do that on a separate demo. But the point is that the service calls for what could be construed as nuisance calls, because a lot of times the CSR isn't going to sell anything on that call. It's just going to take up time where they could be more productive with something else. So this way, people can help self-service themselves. When it comes to policy data inside the mobile app for your clients, when your clients tap on that policies button right here on the mobile app, they will land right here. And we break out the policy information by both personal and commercial lines. So if you have a client that has both personal and commercial lines, we can load both types of policies into the app. And we go pretty deep into the data being pulled from HawkSoft. When a client taps down on a particular policy, they'll see the top level information for sure. They may need to tap twice to get down to the levels of coverages, limits, and deductibles on a vehicle policy. But you can see on the right there for the homeowner's policy, all of the coverages and limits are right there. In the case of a vehicle policy, imagine this is a scrolling screen between the first and second, the left and the center image. It's all live data that came out of the app for that particular vehicle, all the coverages, limits, and deductibles. And you'll notice that we associate the ID cards, keep the ID card right there with the policy so that if someone needs to get to it or capture it, they can, and they can also share it from this point. But we know that people get pulled over, and oftentimes there are rental car counters and they need to display their ID cards quickly. So we've set it up so that if someone taps the ID cards button on the mobile app, they'll be able to access their ID card very quickly and easily. And they can also share it from this point as well in the event of a vehicle accident when they need to share their information with the other driver. And before we move off this center screen right here that's labeled ID cards and documents, I just want to spend a moment on here because that field used to be labeled just ID cards. So I want to give you a sneak peek on something that's going to be released very soon, most likely by the end of this month. So when I say soon, I mean soon. So we've known for a long time that agencies somehow need to share documents with their clients, and they need to be able to do it securely. And a lot of times when you email, that's not a secure method to email something that may have some sensitive or personally identifiable information in there. So we've set it up so that an agency can share a document into the app, and a client can upload a document into the app, and it will be shared securely with the agency, and both parties are notified. In the case of the agency sharing a document with a client, you'll see that we send a notification to that agency, to that client, so that they know that this document awaits them and it can be accessed inside the app and read very easily and then shared from there as the client needs to. And this can be done with a PDF, it can be done with a Word document, Excel document, any kind of document can be shared and accessed. So we're very excited about that. The last way that integrated data reduces service calls is in the claims area. Because data is in the app, if someone is in an accident or they do need to fill out a property incident, all the policy details are in the accident report for the adjuster to look at. Adjusters love these reports because they're very comprehensive, they're very simple to complete, and they streamline the claims process so that the sooner a claim gets filed, the agency's loss ratio is going to be. Before I move off of all that the data can do for agencies and for clients, we know that a mobile app is new to most agencies, so we help you promote the application with digital assets as well. We produce a video for you that helps you promote the application, and you can use that on any platform that you'd like to. But we also produce branded marketing images, and these can be used in a multitude of ways. We don't just license you an app and say, good luck. We recognize that this is new for you to roll this out to clients, but it's an exceptional way to engage with your clients in a meaningful way. When we say that integrated data increases retention, here's what we mean. We've started to ask some of our longer term clients who've been with us for at least 7, now 8 years. Over the course of that time, for all of the clients who've installed the app, how many of those clients are still active clients with active policies? The first agency we asked to do that was Paradiso Insurance in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. And Paradiso reported to us that over the last 8 years, 96% of his clients who've installed the app are still active with active policies. That's a huge number. That may be an outlier, but what we found is that number is settling around 5%, that most agencies will see a 5% increase in client retention. That's an absolute number, not a percentage off a percentage. So these are real numbers. The clients who want to get connected with you are going to be your clients for the long term. Now I'd like to move to the third way that your data will help your agency move forward. So I'd like to ask George Toney of Metrowest Insurance out in Los Angeles to unmute. And I'm going to ask Kiki Johnson to come in as well, because both of them have spoken many times. And George has a lot of insights about how the app has really positioned his agency to excel going forward. So I'm going to turn the conversation over to both Kiki and George.
George said something to me that I want to just repeat. You said that our app gave you the most functionality of any tech you worked with. And then you expanded upon that, and that's what I'm going to ask you to do.
Well, we started this process, when COVID started, we all had to go home, and we had to transition our agency really quickly to be able to continue to service people. So we didn't even know at that point that we could afford an app, which was, everybody had seen all the direct sellers with nice apps like you detailed, Matt, and the smaller companies like the companies that we represent have apps, but by the time they produce them, they're actually not really, they're obsolete and they're not very functional, and people complain about getting signed up with them. They're a bad reflection on the carrier, I hate to say it, and on us as a representative of the carrier. So we knew we had to do something different. So we started with your app, and what we saw right away is that drove us to clean our data. And that was not a gargantuan process. Hawksoft helps you to keep that straight, but it was, once we were able to clean the data, then we were able to bring in Levitate and some of the other programs for drip campaigns and things like that. So the first place we started was with the app, because we knew nobody's really going to our website. We have a new website being designed. We don't get traffic there. We do the campaigns, but the spam, to the point Matt made, is a huge, huge issue. We're very careful about how we're contacting our long-term clients and when we're contacting them. But this has been received very well by our clients. It isn't, a day one, everybody signs up type of thing. You have to make it a part of every conversation, but it gives you the opportunity to actually come in there and have meaningful conversations with your clients, because we can't reach at our younger clients. We're in a 40-year business, and to get at the younger clients, you have to have this. And they're the ones who are immediately signing up for it when we have it. So it gives us a shot to segment our business better and get at those younger clients that are harder to reach. I agree that it'll increase retention. We're a high retention agency. The compliments we've received about it are about offering progressive ways to communicate, better ways to have our clients just, instead of having to memorize our phone number or do something else, they can just open it, call us, text us, send us what they need. And we're seeing that reducing our service calls right away. And especially with ID cards is such a huge, the same people call us every month, every 6 months for another ID card, no matter how many we mail. Somehow they never get them. And so this is sitting in their hand. It's given us a chance to talk to our older clients and make sure that they got the technology, and they appreciate that, sort of help. It's very easy to sign up. So, if you walk them through it, they really appreciate it. And then they feel like they've got something, that your agency has something more. And what we found, as all these disruptor carriers are out there, and even though they have the nice apps and things like that, they're coming to independent agents to sell their product. And, the greatness of this app is that you can put everybody's business in it, not just, one carrier and one carrier. And that, people have tech fatigue from all this time spent. They don't want to open 15 different apps to do their insurance, or 3 or 4, and they all don't work the same, and some of them are not very functional. This app, for us, does everything for the carriers that we represent. So if they want to pay a bill, they can do it. If they want to get to their information, they have it at their fingertips. If they want to communicate with us, they can do it. We're able to put our social media here. We're able to put our branded media here. And when we have things like forest fires and things like that in California, we're very careful, but we can push notify people who are in danger zones. Where are the emergency services? Things like that. This has become a platform for us to be able to do business more efficiently and to be able to connect with our clients where we're not just talking to them about bills or claims, but we actually get a chance to mine our business and speak with them, because the app is replacing basically a lot of CSR work for us. And the more people we get on it, the more we're going to see that, which will give us chances at selling more business. I started out at 20% commission, 30 years ago. We're down to about 10. So you've got to be leaner and faster. And, in the same vein of, we don't send faxes as much anymore, any of those things. You have to keep up with the technology. And I'm an older guy. You have to. If you don't, you can't connect with the younger clients, and you're not really servicing the other ones to the potential that you could. I think it's helped us in quite a number of ways.
Thank you, George. And everything you've talked about is so true. But what I like is that you're looking now and how it's impacting you today, but you're also looking at what you need, what you're going to need, and what your agency is going to need to look like going forward. Even mentioned it that as you're getting new appointments with new carriers, they're looking at the technology you're using in a critical way to see if you're going to be able to service the clients of the future. And share what you shared with me yesterday about how you've used it.
Yeah, anybody who is doing any kind of new company appointments knows they're going to ask you for your website. They're going to ask you for your automation, your what agency management system you use, what practices do you have in-house to decrease E&O claims and things like that. And this is all a part of that. I mean, clean data, I have to be honest, it comforts me that we have the right information and the right ways to reach people. It's again, I could tell you a story of when I first bought the agency, how a guy was used to our phone calls, and one of my agents, I told him to contact him to make a payment. He sent an email and he didn't call, and the guy ended up in a loss, and I ended up my first week having to sort of go through it with the guy and pay half of his claim because he had come to rely on us. And we spoke with our attorneys, and they said, look, if he's come to rely on you to his detriment, that behavior, you got to do it. So this takes away a lot of that for us, because we have all encapsulated in one place, our communications with our clients. And when they text us, that opts them in for texting, which means we don't have to go through that process with, Hawksoft on who we can text and who we can't. It starts, and that's what everybody wants now. They want us to communicate with them that way. And we're seeing that more and more. I'm getting text as I'm sitting here. So I know how important it is to the younger clients, especially. And if we're going to be relevant as agents, and I think we're so important because all these disruptors are coming to us to sell their insurance, but we have to have the functionality that they have. And the difference, I think, between their apps and what Kiki and Matt have done here is that their apps are made and then they're static for a long time. And I've only been here for a while, and the app's already adding functionality. I think that's a huge difference. It's you listen to us, and guys, they do walk you through everything. That's how I've gotten to know them, is we've called and asked, how do we get more clients on it? What do we do? It's a process, and they're really, really good about helping you to make that a more successful process as you go through your agency. All our new clients coming in, they jump on it right away. Getting our older clients is still a work in process, and we have to continue to, have those conversations. But all those conversations are helping us, because they're, you don't want to just talk to people when they owe you money or when they have a claim. You've got to be talking to them. We found out things, like I mentioned to Kiki yesterday, we found out one of our clients was somebody who used to do all the world's fairs, and he had a home full of things that we hadn't covered. And by going through this process, we were able to figure out, hey, you have an Edison record player. We need to cover that. We need to do something else. So it's given us opportunities that we didn't have before. It's much, I think, going forward, it's going to be what people want. And I will note, for the agency side, there's a share button on here that you can see on the screen, and that we're heavily referral based. That makes referrals so much easier because all they have to do is hit that button and text it, and all your details go to the person they're sending it to. And we've already had people do it. So we know it's something that's going to work for us for referrals.
Piggybacking on what you're saying, George, we built the app from the point of view of making the client be more responsible. So built into the app is, do you want to set bill pay reminders? But it's they're setting the bill pay reminders in their device. It's not saying, okay, you send it to me. It's like, hey, we've got this tool. You can do an inventory because we really think it's important, but you're putting the burden on them, but you're making it really easy for them to do all the obvious things that you tell them about, but they've never had any way to do it. And so that's a really critical transition part of that, is that you're not saying, hey, I'll do it for you. We're saying, hey, we've made it really easy for you to do it. So that's really, really important.
And anyone who knows claims knows if we get that first report before somebody's had a chance to rethink the what happened or talk to an attorney and the story changes, we get the truth. And that's huge. Everybody wants that first report. The minute it's done, it geolocates to where it is, time and place, and that kind of thing. And that gives you a claim that's very accurate. And, we're doing a lot of remote claims on home, and that app will have the ability, especially if you're uploading documents now or photos and things like that, to do that as well. So we know it's where the future's going. And I think, it's bigger than anything that we've invested in, meaning it's more important to our agency there. It's not expensive, so it's not bigger than the other things that we've done, but it's truly the face of the agency. This is what brands us to our clients and what attaches us to our clients. And we're a high retention agency. The more we do this, the comments that we've gotten from people are, we see you're changing the agency. We see you're adding functionality for us, and we appreciate it. And that's helping us. It's keeping the relationship alive and moving forward to meet what people want.
We're running a little bit over, but I want to address just a couple of the questions that are in the Q&A, and more of the ones that apply to everyone. One that someone's asked is, what about data? And they're saying, if the data isn't downloaded correctly. And I'm going to speak to all agents out there. If that's the case, you guys got to go back to the carriers and you've got to say what the problem is. If you've got a problem with bad data, you need to get the carrier to fix the issue or be alerted to the issue, or you need to fix it in your own system. It's really important. The louder you guys talk about this, the more it moves to the head of the issues. Kenny, do you want to jump in on that? Or
Yeah, just to add a quick point. If you ever discover a download that is not working properly in Hawksoft, please alert Hawksoft product support. We have a download certification process. We have a lot of strong relationships with carriers. I support Kiki stance 100%. An agent's voice goes so much further than our voices as vendors. But we also have channels that we can leverage. And so if you're seeing issues in the data, please let us know. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. So letting everybody know in the chain will help solve it faster.
Matt, you were going to say something?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank George a lot. I really appreciate his presence on here and speaking from his experience. There are 3 or 4 questions on here. You just addressed the first one. What's the percentage of clients that actually have downloaded the app? And the short answer is it depends on the agency. The high watermark is a Hawksoft agency out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's Cornerstone Insurance. Laura O'Neill is the principal. The first pass on an email going out to her clients, about a third of her client list of about 1,200 clients installed the app. It's huge. The low watermark is an agency that has never been in communication with their clients and all of a sudden sends out an email saying we've got an app. And the truth is there are 6 million apps in the 2 app stores. Nobody cares if an agency has an app, but they do care if they know what the app will do for them and how it will make them more productive. So it really depends on the nature of the relationship, as George addressed. The ones that there's a trusting relationship there, they'll download your app. They want to get connected with you, and they will stay with you for a long time. So hate to be equivocal on there, but the short answer is it depends on the agency. Another question was, will the app be in the App Store? In the App Store, the app is always known as Insurance Agent App. And we do that for a couple of reasons. The first is basically that people have a lot of apps on their smartphones. They may know a CSR, they may know a producer, but they may know George, and they may not know that the name of George's agency is Metrowest. They'll be looking for George Toney and not find anything. So the point is that we keep an eye for insurance, because that way people can find their app, their insurance app, in a sea of apps, because the average number of apps on a smartphone now is between 80 and 120, depending upon the research. So you want to make it easy for someone to find their insurance agent app. Once that icon is tapped, it loads the branding for the agency, just as you're seeing here with Metrowest. So it's a great experience, and I've had that discussion with many principals. They all love to see their icon, but the truth is icons are tricky. And if your people don't even know what your branding looks like, they're going to have a hard time finding it in a sea of apps. So we try to keep it simple for them.
And I want to jump, Matt, and just say one thing, and I'm sorry to interrupt. For anybody who's thinking of doing it, you get a lot of control. They help you to figure out how to get your data clean and how to open it up to people. And that'll help you to get better numbers signed on, so that you don't just release it, too early when you're not prepared and when you haven't prepared your clients. They help you a lot. So I wouldn't be worried about that, just to tell you. Sorry, Matt.
You have a lot of control, right?
Yes.
Good. And the last good question was, does the cost depend on the agency size? The answer is yes. We base our pricing on an agency's head count. And really what we're trying to do is ballpark or estimate the number of clients an agency has. And generally there's a correlation between the two. Sometimes that's an upside down relationship. High net worth agency has fewer clients, more premium. In any case, the pricing we know is very reasonable. We've been told we don't charge enough. But our goal has not been to get a high unit rate. Our goal has been to get this into the hands of the independent agent channel. We're huge supporters of the channel, members of ACT. You'll see us out there quite a bit. But as I said at the beginning of this presentation, we know this is new territory for a lot of agencies. We're here to help you get through it and really understand how this application can help your agency move forward, because it's not going away. Right, George?
No. I mean, faxes are, but this is not.
I would love to sit here and go through all this. I do want to be respectful of everyone's time. I always love sitting in on Insurance Agent App presentations. Matt, I think you do a fantastic job, and you're one of the best presenters in the industry, if I can toot your horn a little there. Kiki and George, your conversation was fantastic. It means so much to us that we can have an agent's perspective in these conversations. You guys drive what we do, and it means so much to Hawksoft that we're able to partner with such like-minded organizations and technology vendors that are helping make independent agents successful in this ever-changing world. Matt, Kiki, George, thank you again so much. This has been a fantastic presentation. I'm super excited to see everything that's coming to your platform in the next year. Thank you. And thank you everybody who took time out of their day to join us. We really appreciate it.